Being a British tyrant, I'm subject to an immense amount of torment from the foreign lands. So I thought I'd try and depict how you utter aliens think we seem to live. So this is a day of how the world views Britain. So you wake up to your custom cuckoo clock that has the Queen erect out of the wood wielding a sword, calling you such a good boy for waking up to another glorious day of gloom. Bloody brilliant, that, he mutters. And before he even sits up, he slams the tea alarm off, the kettle that's run off an automatic timer next to his bed because hydration must come before consciousness. And of course, as he sits up, he cracks open his bedroom window to let in a gust of fresh, legally mandated morning misery. The neighbour across the street is already mowing his lawn aggressively while muttering about taxes. It's 5:47 AM and he's trimming the balls of the earth. He yawns in the Queen's English because everyone here in the UK speaks like they're auditioning to document the sex life of a rare bird. The room, like the rest of the nation, is an elegant shade of grey, as if someone set the country's NVIDIA digital vibrancy setting to post-divorce. He heads to the bathroom, grabs his barbed wire toothbrush, and proceeds to squeeze a nice lump of Marmite on it. He brushes away gracefully. "Can't go wrong," he says while the Marmite burns a layer of aggression onto his tongue. The barbed wire knights his gums down to their very core. He then washes it all down with a tea. Just another Tuesday for our pal Rufus. As he wipes his mouth with a towel so stiff it could be used to breach castle walls, he glances at his reflection and gives himself the traditional British pep talk. "Could be worse. Job's a good un. Right-o, old chap." But not a single person out of his Britannic bubble has a clue what he's going on about. He makes his way over to the next checkpoint, the shower. He steps in, grabs a crumpet, squeezes a salt and vinegar shower gel onto it, and proceeds to caress his pits and chest like he's just spent a night in the streets of Paris. Hygiene achievement now unlocked. It must be time for another cup of tea. He opens the fridge and alas, no more bottles of water. Is that genuinely the only joke you American knobheads have? It's like a British person saying, well, at least when I went to school, it wasn't like playing a game of Search and Destroy on Nuketown. It's just not that good. He puts on his shorts, a dressing gown, and some vintage suede loafers and heads outside into the relentless British rain, stands in a full T-pose and just allows the heavens to fill his electric kettle naturally. Why waste water when the plumber of the sky is consistently busy committing adultery? Once filled, he carries it inside, still in T-pose for balance of course, sets it on the counter, plugs it in, and I know I said it was an electric kettle, but funnily enough, kettles don't run on electricity here. Electricity is a common misconception, similar to how Google says Richard Hammond is a journalist. They run on the static energy collected from a century-long national depression, so he focuses and allows every inactive neuron in his brain to connect to the British hive mind, so he can of course enjoy his second morning brew. 5 to 20 minutes later, depending on the brand of the kettle, or whether the England football team have qualified for anything this year, the kettle roars to life like Johnny Vegas farting in a bath. As the steam rises, it briefly forms the face of David Attenborough, whispering, "A rather exquisite confectionery," before fading away, a blessing for the day ahead. Tea has been secured, it's time to get dressed. He's thinking something light today, you know, just maybe a full set of chainmail armour, and you thought mental health and illegal immigration was the only thing weighing us down, eh? Oh, where am I, you ask? Oh, this is the chamber of cancellation. You just missed it. Me and Philip Schofield just did the egg and spoon race, without a spoon. Or any eggs, in fact. The metal clanks loudly as he steps onto the street, blended of course with the sound of everyone else doing the exact same thing. When neighbours pass, they clink swords together in greeting, sounding like a high five with Tin Woodman. On the walk to the bus stop, he complains about three things. The heavens, alas, are shedding their tears once again. How his comically small, tiny little umbrella just isn't cutting it. Oh, and the fact it's gone above 6 degrees, which technically qualifies as a heat wave, so half the street is dressed as some sort of medieval Bonnie Blue. A fox casually trots across the pavement wearing someone's stolen slipper. They exchange eye contact, both silently agreeing not to speak of this encounter ever again. Toodle pip, Mr. Fox. May our paths cross again in better circumstances. He reaches the bus stop and joins the end of the queue that stretches halfway to Glasgow. He then realises that he's in the queue for the actual queue. Ah yes, quite. When the big red double-decker bus arrives, he boards it, apologising to the driver for for absolutely nothing. Sorry, my existence was facing in your general direction, Squire. He taps his hobnob biscuit on the card reader, it beeps, and then he proceeds to dunk it into his 1-litre travel cup of tea. The bus is full of people loudly pretending they're quiet, a group of lads in the back acting like they're gangsters, even though each one is legally required to carry a ceremonial sword. One of them is swinging his sword and attempting to cast Excepto Patronum, so he can make it through another day, I guess. Another is loudly talking about how he went to Spain and how the locals absolutely loved them, while the sunburn consumes his face like a Spanish anti-tourism riot. A couple next to him is arguing about the royal family, completely and utterly obsessed with the topic. On the other side, someone's reading Jeremy Clarkson's autobiography like it's holy scripture. The whole bus smells like ready salted crisps, because any form of flavour is considered suspicious. Cheese and onion? Oh, good heavens, no. Far too spicy for me, old chap. Oh, and they definitely don't say potato chips. That's like talking to an American about the twin fish fingers. The bus lurches violently as it hits a pothole large enough to qualify as a National Trust heritage site. No one reacts, of course. Indentations in the head from the handrail within a bus is common amongst us Brits. He arrives at work within 45 seconds because time in Britain is similar to like the Nether in Minecraft. Every 80 seconds outside of the UK is 1 second within. That's how stop motion animation was created. A grey building next to another grey building under a grey sky, surrounded by a grey pavement that somehow manages to be slightly more grey. Grey is our anatomy, but of course we have colourful characters like Derek, who's currently munching on a shepherd's pie outside the front door. Once inside, he refuses to speak any language other than English. The Polish intern says something like, I don't know, "Morning mate, want a cup of kurwa?" And he simply responds, "Sorry mate, I don't speak any of that foreign shit," and proceeds to lob a teabag at him. During lunch, he pulls out his granary and cement sandwich, a meal so flavourless and stale that you may as well call it Mrs. Brown's bap. A co-worker asks him, are you alright mate? Not because he actually wants to know if he's alright, it's just like being nice, innit? For a snack, he has a single grape, not to eat, just to ponder at. Exotic that, he mutters before sealing it in Tupperware for next week. After work and a day of hiding his emotions within, it's time for a bit of release. Just like the American healthcare system, we also pay for ours. It's called the pub. He walks in, orders a pint of lager, which inevitably leads to another 7. He's insistent he's not drunk, explaining that being drunk means being completely paralytic on the floor, you know, spiritually communicating with the carpet. The place is loud, chaotic, and deeply comforting. Good for the soul. He doesn't talk about his feelings or his problems, he drinks them into a dark pit of addiction. It's tradition. Someone puts on Bittersweet Symphony on the jukebox. The entire pub, regardless of prior conversation or sobriety level, forms a choir powerful enough to summon the ghost of Winston Churchill. You know, he's just two-stepping in the corner next to that little machine that gives you mini Pringles. He then starts to stagger home, walking like he's a boat on a stormy evening. He apologises to the red phone box for bumping into it. He has a natter about the footy to the corgi that's guiding him home. He once again complains about the weather, and the only thing running through his mind is the fact that he's absolutely fiending for another cup of tea. When he gets home, his wife greets him with some freshly cleaned chainmail, puts his sword on the holder which is located on the living room mantelpiece, provides him with a freshly sharpened sword and a ferocious bit of fellation. Oh god. He calls her a good wench and moves to the dining area. It's tea time, so you know what that means. It's time for the traditional British feast. Fish and chips, beige on beige, served under dinner room lighting so dim it feels like he's eating inside of a morgue. Before eating, he performs the sacred dinner ritual, obviously saying grace to Jeremy Clarkson, asking for forgiveness for any sins he's committed throughout the day, maybe some unfaithful thoughts about considering a dentist appointment. He then sprinkles exactly 1 grain of salt into his meal. Any more and the council would have to be notified. He leaves the dinner table and allows a faint trump to propel him into the living room. He sits down, eats 1 more bag of crisps, watches Emmerdale, then Corrie, then EastEnders, and then finishes it all off with a documentary on the royal family that he pretends to hate so he can assert his male dominance since his spouse is present, but he secretly loves every bit of it. He gets into his blue and white striped pajamas, grabs his candle, and starts walking up his wooden stairs, narrowly avoiding the nails protruding through the floor. Halfway up, he stops to salute the portrait of Sir David Beckham that every British household is legally required to display. National hero, he whispers. Finally, he collapses into bed. Armour gets thrown on the floor and flies directly through the floorboards, And he mutters, "Oh, I just love being a British patriot. What a fantastic day." Did I miss anything there, or is that okay? You know what they say, 2 is always better than 1. Second channel on the screen right now. Go have a look. Tell your grandma.
Go shite.